Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS MLB Thursday. Continuing, we got White Sox Mariners in this video, but we'll go through every single game on the board on the live show. That's at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. As far as Wednesday, definitely off to a rough start again. Looking like it might be back-to-back losing days. It's still early, though, so there's a lot of action still going on, but lost my first bet. So we'll see. Hopefully things turned around for me. Might be 2 losing days in a row. We'll see. White Sox, Mariners, let's roll.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, Chicago's on the road in Seattle here. Mariners pretty heavily favored at home, -185. Totals all the way down at 6.5. When we take a look at the starting pitching matchup, it makes sense. Garrett Crochet is on the mound against Castillo. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we got a lean on the White Sox here. 2.58 to 1.84 Chicago. Final score 4.04 to 4.00 Chicago. So model likes the White Sox. You love to see it. All right, so let's take a look at this matchup, and the White Sox bats, man, may be coming to life a little bit. I mean, ever since Luis Robert returned to the lineup for the White Sox, that whole unit is rejuvenated. In the last 7 days, the Chicago White Sox have a top 10 lineup. 9th in WRC+, 7th in OPS, 9th in WOBA. They're coming to life here. They're also starting to hit on the road a little bit. In the last 30 days, they're pretty much average. In the last 14 days, 12th, 11th, and 12th. Okay, White Sox. Against righties, pretty average. 16th across the board in the last 14 days, 14th in the last 7. By Chicago White Sox standards, those are elite numbers right there. The last 6 righty starters to pitch against the White Sox, 5.79 ERA. The White Sox are scoring some runs here on righty starters. And if you look at the game logs, they got to Logan Gilbert, they got to Brian Bale, they got to Cooper Cresswell. They didn't get to Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck blanked him. He pitched a gem. They got to Jameson Taillon. They got to Freddie Peralta a little bit. They got to Tobias Myers. I mean, no question, numbers don't lie here. The White Sox are getting to righty starters. Bad news for the White Sox, though. Luis Castillo has pitched very well against them in his career. He's made 3 career starts against the White Sox. He's got a 2.33 ERA and an 0.88 whip. So he's had no problems with this White Sox lineup when he's seen them. And Castillo's been pitching well as of late. On his last 2 starts, 3.75 ERA and an even 1 whip. His numbers on the season, 3.35 ERA and a 1.16 whip. So Castillo's been just fine. And the fact that this game's being played in Seattle definitely helps him as well. You can see ERA, whip, strikeouts per 9, all those numbers better at home for Castillo. His last 3 home starts, he's got a 1.89 ERA and an 0.95 whip. His last 5 home starts, 1.69 and an 0.91. So he's been absolutely excellent at home. Now, I will say he's definitely seen some easier competition at home. You can see his start on the road at Kansas City. Royals have a great lineup at home in Kansas City. His home starts against the Angels, one of the worst lineups against righties in baseball. Astros at home, I mean, another lineup that doesn't really produce on the road. Then he goes on the road, Yankees, Baltimore. Basically, what I'm saying here is if you look at his recent game logs, he seems to get much easier opponents at home, which might add to those home-away splits. And if you look at his splits against top 10 and bottom 10 lineups, I mean, it kind of tells the story. Against bottom 10 lineups, Luis Castillo has been untouchable. Against top 10 lineups, not so much. So where do we rank the Chicago White Sox? I mean, obviously they're a bottom 10 lineup, but recently, I mean, in the last 7 days, they're a top 10 lineup. And with Luis Robert back, maybe this lineup, I mean, they're hitting right now. So it depends on how you value the White Sox bats. That being said, if you look at the pitch mix, it doesn't look great. 4-seam fastball, slider, sinker, change. Those are Luis Castillo's 4 main pitches. Chicago's in the bottom 12 of MLB against all 4 of them. So overall on this side, it's definitely pretty hard to make a prediction. I mean, Luis Castillo's been great at home, but the White Sox continue to get to every righty starter they see. So why not count on the White Sox to get 2 or 3 runs here? I think the data shows it. I think the White Sox may score a couple. Now let's flip it over to the other side and look at the Seattle bats. All these numbers look mediocre here. I mean, in the last 14 days, 14th in WRC+, 17th in OPS, 16th in WOBA. In the last 7 days, about the same. In the last 30 days, about the same. Their numbers at home, again, kind of average. In the last 30 days, 10th, 17th, and 15th. Their numbers against lefties, average to slightly below average. 17th, 19th, and 18th in the last 14 days. 23rd, 26th, and 24th in the last 30 days. The last 4 lefty starters to pitch against the Mariners, 4.57 ERA and a 1.20 whip, 4.01 expected FIP, are all pretty average looking. If you look at the game logs, you can see they struggled to get the lefty starters. Cole Reagans, J.P. Sears. They got to Reed Detmers, but honestly, who isn't getting to Reed Detmers recently? They also got to Framber Valdez, but they always get to Framber Valdez. He struggles against them. They got to Patrick Corbin. Congrats. You want to parade for it? Before that, they didn't get to Mackenzie Gore, didn't get to Nestor Cortez. So overall, I would say they're not really getting to lefty starters, which brings us to Garrett Crochet numbers. Nobody's getting to this kid. His last 4 starts, he's got a 1.50 ERA and an 0.75 whip. Now, when you look at his home away splits, you'll see that he has a 4.80 ERA on the road, and that might concern you, but look at his whip, a 1.03. I mean, in his last 3 road starts, he's got an even 1 ERA and an 0.67 whip. If you look at his game logs here, I mean, his recent road starts were completely fine. 6 innings, 1 earned run at Milwaukee, one of the best home lineups in baseball. 6 shutout innings, just 3 base runners in Toronto against the Blue Jays. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run at St. Louis. Garrett Crochet is fine. I mean, he gave up some runs on the road earlier in the season. Recently, he's been untouchable at home, on the road, anywhere. And that's terrible news for Seattle because they've been a bottom 10 lineup against good lefties, against lefty starters with an ERA under 3.50. 28th, 25th, 22nd. They also struggle against lefty starters that don't walk guys on the season against lefty starters with a walk rate below 6%, 25th, 17th, and 20th. Here's the pitch mix. I mean, they have decent numbers against the four-seam fastball. They're 16th in the last 30 days, but his other pitches, the cutter, the slider, he even throws a changeup a little bit, 25th, 25th, and 30th. So overall, all signs point to Garrett Crochet absolutely dealing here on the road in Seattle. Now, when we get to the bullpens, no question Seattle has the edge. On the season, 13th in ERA, 5th in WOBA, 9th in expected FIP. This is borderline top 10 bullpen. White Sox have one of the worst bullpens in baseball, so no question Seattle has the edge. Seattle's bullpen has also been really good at home. White Sox bullpen on the road, absolutely trash. And Seattle's also been really good offensively in the late innings. You can see in the last 30 days, this is a top 5, top 6 lineup in inning 6+. White Sox have been also, though, in the last 7 days, 4th in WRC+, 2nd in OPS, 3rd in WOBA. So the White Sox have been active in the late innings as well.
So I was going to wait this game out and wait for the bullpen usage, but it's 1-1 in the 9th inning, and I think this is going to go to extra innings. I'm not waiting. But it doesn't matter because I like the White Sox in the first 5 anyway. If you want to play it safe, take the half run at -120. If you don't expect the White Sox to put up runs on Castillo, I can see that. But Crochet has been so dominant, and as I pointed out, the Mariners aren't getting to lefty starters. They're not getting to good lefty starters. So I don't see any reason not to trust Crochet to give us 5 innings of 1-run baseball, maybe even 5 shutout innings. So going with White Sox first 5, money line, +128. Or you could also go Seattle first 5 team total under. It's going to be at 1.5, though. It's probably going to be expensive. So I'm just going to White Sox first 5 money line +128. Forgot to include live show 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll go through every single game on the board. My top bets and top bets from everyone on the staff here posted to KyleKirms.com. If you're signed up for Sauce Network Plus, check it out if you're interested. Also comes with access to the Discord. You can participate in our weekly $100 betting league. All that, head over there. Yeah, I need a bounce back, man. Back-to-back losing nights for me. Tuesday and Wednesday. So I need a nice Thursday to get some momentum back before the weekend. That's what I need. Not exactly a loaded MLB night, but there's some spots here. So let's have a nice Thursday bounce back.